The warehouse smells like turmeric, cardboard, and diesel. It is a scent that has lived in my hair and under my fingernails since I was 12 years old. I am standing on the loading bay holding a thermal tablet. It is 6 in the morning. The first 3 lorries are idling. Their exhaust blooms in the cold London air. I check the manifests against the digital inventory. We have 4 tons of premium basmati and 200 crates of Alfonso mangoes arriving by noon. I move with a rhythm that only comes from 15 years of repetition. I know every driver by name. I know which pallets are prone to tipping. I am the heartbeat of this building. My father sits in the glass office above us. He drinks tea and watches the CCTV. He is the face of the company. I am the hands. I am the brain. I am the reason we survived the 2026 tax hikes that crushed our competitors. The drivers look to me for the signature. They do not look up at the glass office. They know who keeps the wheels turning. I sign the digital glass. I wave the first truck through the gates. My phone vibrates in my pocket. It is a calendar alert. 11 o'clock. Meeting with the solicitors. I assume it is about the new business property relief caps. The government just slashed the inheritance tax exemptions. Anything over $2.5 million is now taxed at 20%. Our holdings are worth $12 million. We have been preparing for this for months. I have the spreadsheets ready. I have the restructuring plan. I have the strategy to keep the family legacy intact without liquidating our soul. I feel like a general going into a necessary battle. I am ready to protect what I built. I walk up the metal stairs to the office. My brother Arjun is already there. He is leaning against my father's desk. He is wearing a suit that cost more than a forklift. He is scrolling through his phone. He does not look up when I enter. Arjun hasn't been in the warehouse for 3 weeks. He says the dust bothers his sinuses. He spends his time at private members' clubs in Mayfair. He calls himself a consultant. I call him an expense. My father smiles at him. It is a soft smile. It is a smile he never gives me. To my father, I am a reliable machine. To my father, Arjun is a prince. I sit down and open my laptop. I am ready to work. The solicitors arrive at 11 sharp. They are 2 men in charcoal suits. They look like they are here to deliver an autopsy report. We sit in the boardroom. The smell of the warehouse is faint here. It is replaced by the smell of expensive cologne and old paper. My father clears his throat. He looks at me for a second. Then he looks at the table. He says that the new laws change everything. He says the business cannot survive a 20% tax hit if it is split up. He says the continuity of the name is the most important thing. I nod. I agree with him. That is why my restructuring plan works. I reach for my laptop to present. My father puts his hand on mine. He tells me to listen first. The lead solicitor opens a leather folder. He speaks in a flat, rhythmic tone. He outlines the new 2026 regulations. He mentions the business property relief threshold. He mentions the need for a single successor to consolidate the allowances. Then he reads the primary clause of the revised will. Everything goes to Arjun. The property, the shares, the warehouse, the brand, the fleet, all of it. I wait for my name. I wait for the mention of my partnership. It does not come. I am mentioned in a small subclause. I am granted a life interest in a small apartment in Croydon. I am granted a nominal salary as a senior manager, but I own nothing. I have no vote. I have no power. I am an employee of my younger brother. The room goes very quiet. I can hear the hum of the air conditioning. I can hear a lorry reversing outside. The beep, beep, beep sounds like a heart monitor flatlining. I look at Arjun. He is looking at his fingernails. He isn't surprised. He knew. I look at my father. He won't meet my eyes. He tells me it is for the family. He says that in our culture, the sun carries the light. He says that if I marry, the business would eventually belong to another family. He says he is protecting the bloodline. He says Arjun will need my help to run things. He actually says that. He expects me to stay. He expects me to do the work so his son can collect the dividends. He expects me to be the engine while Arjun is the driver. I feel a heat rising in my chest. It is not a flash of anger. It is a slow, cold realization. Every late night I spent in this office was a gift to a man who doesn't value me. Every weekend I spent at trade shows was a brick in Arjun's palace. I think about the 2026 tax laws. The government wants their 20%. They want it because they know these businesses are the backbone of the economy. They don't care about bloodlines, they care about revenue. My father thinks he is being clever. He thinks he is bypassing the system by dumping everything onto one male heir. He doesn't realize he is handing the keys to a man who doesn't know the difference between a bill of lading and a grocery list. I stand up. My chair scrapes against the floor. The sound is like a scream. I do not shout. I do not cry. I have learned that in this business, emotion is a liability. I ask my father if this is his final decision. He says it is the only way to save the business from the tax man. I tell him he has just ensured the business will fail. I tell him that without me, the contracts with the suppliers will vanish. I tell him that the bank only renewed our credit line because of my signature. He tells me I am being dramatic. He tells me to go back to the warehouse floor and cool off. He says we will have dinner tonight and talk about the apartment in Croydon. He says the apartment has a very nice view. I walk out of the room. I do not go to the warehouse floor. I go to my desk. I take my personal hard drive. I take my private files. I leave the thermal tablet. I leave the company phone. I walk down the metal stairs. I see the staff working. They look at me. They can tell something is wrong. I don't say a word. I walk out of the front gates. I don't take my car because it is a company car. I walk to the bus stop. I sit on the bench. My hands are shaking. I am 34 years old. I have nothing but the clothes on my back and the knowledge in my head. But the knowledge is the most valuable thing in that building. I spend the next 3 days in a cheap hotel. I turn off my phone. I know they are calling. I know the warehouse is in chaos. It is Tuesday. That means the VAT returns are due. Arjun doesn't know how to access the portal. It is Wednesday. That means the payroll needs to be authorized. Arjun doesn't have the secondary authentication codes. It is Thursday. The major supplier from Lahore will be calling for their quarterly payment. They only speak to me. My father doesn't understand the nuances of the new 2026 digital customs declarations. He thinks you can still solve problems with a handshake and a box of sweets. The world has changed. The law has changed. He stayed still. On Friday, I turn on my phone. I have 42 missed calls from my father. 12 from Arjun, 6 from the solicitors. I don't call them back. Instead, I call a rival firm. They are a logistics giant based in Birmingham. They have been trying to headhunt me for 3 years. I tell them I am available. I tell them I want a partnership. I tell them I am bringing my entire contact list with me. I tell them I know exactly how to navigate the new tax landscape because I wrote the manual on it. They offer me a position within the hour. They offer me a salary that makes my father's nominal manager pay look like a joke. I meet my father one last time. We meet in a neutral space, a coffee shop near the Thames. He looks older. He looks tired. He tells me the warehouse is at a standstill. He says the drivers are threatening to strike. He says the bank is asking questions about the management structure. He asks me to come back. He says he will increase the salary. He says he will give me a bigger apartment. He still doesn't get it. He thinks this is a negotiation about comfort. He doesn't realize it is a declaration of independence. I tell him I have signed a contract with his biggest competitor. I tell him that by Monday, his 3 largest clients will be receiving a call from me. He looks at me like he doesn't recognize me. He calls me ungrateful. He says I am destroying the family. I tell him he destroyed the family the moment he put a gender before a person. I tell him that the 2026 tax bill is going to come due. I tell him that when the HMRC asks for their £2 million, Arjun will be at a club in Mayfair. I tell him that I am not a daughter anymore. I am a competitor. I stand up and leave the coffee. It is cold. The steam has stopped rising. I walk out into the sunlight. The air feels different. It is sharp and clean. I go to my new office on Monday. It is a glass building. It is modern. It is efficient. There is no smell of turmeric here. There is just the smell of new carpet and possibility. I sit at my new desk. I open my laptop. I start making calls. By noon, I have secured 2 of my father's oldest accounts. They weren't loyal to the name. They were loyal to the service. They were loyal to me. I feel a pang of sadness, but it is buried under a mountain of resolve. The family business will be gone in 18 months. Arjun will sell the assets to pay the tax. My father will retire to a house he can't afford to heat. I think about the apartment in Croydon. I think about the life interest. It was a cage made of gold-plated wire. I chose the cold street instead. Now the street belongs to me. I look at the London skyline. The city is full of women like me. Women who are the brains and the hands. Women who are tired of being the sub-clause in a man's will. The 2026 laws were supposed to be about revenue. For me, they were a catalyst. They forced the truth into the light. The truth is that a legacy is not a name. A legacy is the ability to survive. I am surviving. I am thriving. And I am never going back to the warehouse. The phone rings. It is my new lead driver. He has a problem with a manifest. I talk him through it in 30 seconds. I hang up. I feel a sense of peace. The struggle isn't over. It is just a different kind of fight now. It is a fight where I keep the winnings. I look at my hands. They are clean. The turmeric is gone, but the strength is still there. I am the daughter who left. I am the woman who won. And the cost was everything. I am okay with that. Some things are too expensive to keep. A family that doesn't see you is one of them. I watch the sun set over the city. I think about my father. I hope he enjoys his tea. I hope Arjun enjoys his suit. Because by the time the next tax year rolls around, they will be nothing but a memory in the industry I now lead. I pick up my pen. I have work to do. I have a world to build. I have a name to make for myself. A name that belongs only to me. I am no longer a trial. I am the verdict.